Hello, Mcluvin News here. So, after the proud march of all the Americans who are definitely fine citizens and are definitely a large part of the majority of what represents America, because more of the majority of those who stood up and went out to vote are hardworking family members, independent people, politicians who do represent the good side of America. But the problem with the old system that we live in right now, that our kids are going to have to fight through, especially myself, and everybody else, somebody like me who's been nearly 3 decades with not a friend, not a girlfriend, not a connection, because everyone seems to think with opinions first. And our old senior citizen, bitter old man decides to make a point that that's not the representation of the majority of America. Instead of getting angry about somebody who's senile, worse than senile, a little bit delusional, living in his own fairy tale, we got to look at the reality of the bigger picture. Those were fine, proud American citizens standing up, protesting, and speaking out on their voices. I'm sure families showed up with their kids, and those are fine citizens too. Even the little ones, even the little kiddos with more brain cell, more intellect, more knowledge, and more comprehension of what's going on in this country. So with the reality of what's really going on, for all of you who proudly marched on No King's Day, let's look at the reality of what he said. He said he works hard. He's not a king. He's no king. He recognizes this, but he works so hard. What was he doing? He was down in Florida, sparking up a bunch of nonsense, right? Doing whatever he's doing. You can look it up. You can do research. Guarantee you he wasn't doing anything in sponsor to even think about his response when he thought about what he was going to say. Coming back to find out how many people all throughout America, from Atlanta to California to New York to Philadelphia, even in Virginia, even in Georgia, even in South Carolina, even as far north and far west, even in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, you can go out as far as South Dakota, Indianapolis, Michigan. You know, I'm not going to list every single 50 state, but out of all the majority, it's fairly interesting. His first rhetoric as president wasn't like, you know, these were some fine Americans representing their First Amendment speech. No, he took the downer low negative narrative, which he always likes to do. He likes to start a dumpster fire. That's his problem. We don't stoop to be inside of a dumpster fire. We represent to be better than that. Mcluvin News for the future, because without the presence, we don't have a future. And for our kids, we must stand up for that every single day and represent the fact that we have a freedom of speech and a difference in this country. And to get back on middle ground and stop with this too far right, too far left, all this conservatism, because that's the future, that's the present day we need to live in. It's no better than pushing any more narrative of the liberal sense. And we need to get back on common ground for our kids, on the middle side of everything, to represent the strength of how we make a difference. Because at the end of the day, we can vote for whoever we want, but we can't make sense if we're all divided and we're all on one side or the other. Too far right, too far left. Doesn't make sense. Mcluvin News, thank you for every person who stood up on No King's Day. And you are fine American citizens. Thank you for watching, including those families with their kids. Mcluvin News, without the present, there is no future.